Do you or someone you know have a bullying boss? Then today's video is for you, so stay tuned. Hello, good people. My name is Janice and welcome to Dignity, the channel that illustrates how human rights impacts our everyday lives. If this is something that interests you, then I invite you to subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you do not miss an upcoming video. Today, a woman is going to tell you how, as a young attorney, she dealt with a hostile work environment due to her bullying boss. She provides us with 3 tips and has a special message for millennials. And stay tuned to the end because I have a bonus giveaway.
I was born in 1949, and so I grew up my primary years in the 50s, and then my teenage years in the 60s and the 70s. And during that time, everything was coming apart in terms of traditional things. So you really didn't think about marriage or not being married. You just thought about free love and, you know, what are we going to do today that our parents don't want us to do. I grew up in that generation, so I never thought about how not being married would impact on my job or anything like that. I had to think about it with Judge Lu because she was so adamant about me having an abortion. So I had to think about it, and I had to make some decisions. I had to make one big decision, and it was going to determine how I felt about myself for the rest of my life. And how did my experiences with the Ku Klux Klan and with my following of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. help me to deal with the judge. And they gave me courage, both of them. Dr. King is my true mentor, and I was proud and am proud to say that I was one of his foot soldiers in the 60s. And when he said, let's demonstrate, I would get up and I would demonstrate. So Dr. King said that, and that's on the back cover of my book. Dr. King says that your freedom is more important than anything else to you in this world. That it's worth all of your money, it's worth any job that you could have. It's worth everything. Your freedom is everything. And so I look at my freedom as being everything. And when I look at freedom, I don't look at just the fact that I'm able to walk out in society without handcuffs or chains. But my freedom is my freedom of thought and my freedom of speech and my freedom of choice. And so Dr. King instilled that in me, that if Judge Lu wanted to take this job from me because my freedom of choice was to have my child, then so be it. I would have to suffer the consequences. And the Klan taught me that when you're confronted with somebody that's doing evil, you really don't have to be afraid of them. And you cannot cow to them, because if you cow to them, you'll never be happy and you'll never be free. So those two things are tied together, like, you know, a lot of people today, when they listen to Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, they think that, you know, that sounds good and that sounds nice. But Dr. King was really an advocate, not for dreaming, but for standing up for what is right. And when we stood up with Dr. King, it was not a lot of people standing with us. Not like today, not like the March on Washington. When we were in these small towns in the South, majority of black people were not with us. And that's something that's real strange. So what I learned from that was that whatever decision I make in life, and especially the one with Judge Lu, I may have to stand on my own with that decision, but I'm going to stand on my own with that decision. Do I have anything to tell millennials and other activists who are involved in trying to make a change, such as Black Lives Matter, those groups? I think, well, I have two things that I learned from the 60s with Dr. King. The first thing was you need a leader that you can trust, because you have to speak with one voice. If you're not speaking with one voice, then nobody can listen to you. It's like when I listen to these talk shows on TV and they have these panels and they all start talking at one time. I have to cut them off. Not only because I can't hear well, but because they're not speaking for anybody to understand what they're saying. So you need one leader that you can trust in, and you need a goal. You need to know. You can't just, you have to have a plan. When Dr. King and the people in Montgomery, Alabama decided that they wanted to end segregation on the buses, they had a plan. And that first plan was that Rosa Parks was going to get on the bus one day and say, I'm not moving. And once she put that plan in action, then the next step was to call that boycott. But they sat around the table and they came up with that plan. So for Black Lives Matters, yes, Black lives do matter. But what part of Black lives do you want to matter today? Is it the part where you want the police to stop shooting Black boys for no reason at all? Then you need to sit down and come up with a plan so that you'll know what your first step is and then what your next step is. Because once you take that first step, and this is what Dr. King says, once you take that first step, you're on your way, because somebody is going to come and help you to take the second step. But you got to have leadership, got to have good leadership, you got to have a plan.
I hope you found Phyllis's insight helpful. As a bonus, I'm giving away a copy of her book, The Judge and I. But in order to qualify, you must first subscribe and leave a comment, either with a tip of your own or how this video helped you. I'll announce the winner on the second Tuesday in March. I'll also provide links in the description box with resources on workplace bullying, as well as how to purchase The Judge and I for your own library. Until next time, be well and remember to live with dignity.